The Bear With Us Sanctuary is located about a half hour northwest of Huntsville in a fairly remote area, 88 acres of land, which includes a creek, a wetland, and a pond. And since I purchased the property, there has been some enclosures built to house bears that are eventually going to be returned to the wild. And also there's an enclosure which houses 2 permanent captives which cannot go back to the wild, and that's because they were formerly circus bears. Bears have the ability to think and reason and make a decision, which means they can decide whether they want to hurt us or not hurt us. And the fact is, most of the time their decision is not hurting us. We have this notion, we watch TV, we see these sensationalized documentaries sometimes, or movies, which shows bears as teeth-bearing vicious creatures. Well, the opposite is true. When you see a bear bearing his fangs in a movie, he's been trained to do that, because bears do not snarl like dogs. But for movie purposes, that seems to grab people's attention. Well, today we're going to help these young bears discover the next chapter in their lives. Mechka arrived here on April the 30th of 2010 as a very small orphan. And Bella, who came from Bella, arrived here in mid-August, almost a year ago, as a severely injured orphan cub that was hit by a car. And then we'll drive these bears to a wilderness location which is undisclosed, and allow them to continue on with their lives, hopefully without coming into contact with people. When people who help wildlife by rehabilitating them, there's a lot of people who do this, and they do it from their hearts. There's no financial gain. They are helping the individual animal as an individual return to the wild. I think it promotes an extremely good example, because this individual is going back to the wild as an individual, which helps the population remain healthy. If we just casually take the individual and say, well, it's not worth anything, its life isn't worth anything, and we forget the individual, then we wonder how come the animal's been reduced to a case of being threatened or extirpated, and we wonder why. Because when we think of populations, we forget the individual, and when we forget the individual, sometimes that population is no longer there. If it wasn't for us as people, the wildlife wouldn't need help to begin with. They get hit by cars, they get injured, we leave food out for them so they become nuisances, such as bears. If we didn't have our sloppy activities, this wildlife wouldn't need help anyway. So it is our obligation, I believe, to help undo what sometimes we do. Because it is a reverence for life, which is a true respect for anything that lives. And we might be talking about warm-blooded animals, cold-blooded animals, so we might even be talking about plant life. So I think if we truly have a reverence for life, we would not be killing animals the way we do. I would like to think that when people see a bear in the wild state, consider yourself very fortunate, because it is relatively rare. And if you see a bear acting like a wild bear, eating berries, or just trying to cross the road, you have to try and remember that bear, no matter where it goes in its daily quest for food, is crossing somebody's property. But if you see the bear, look at it in awe. When we forget our fears and understand the animals better, or even better, not forget our fears, but lose our fear, our appreciation, our awe is greatly increased. And instead of picking up a gun, we pick up a camera. And the animal goes on and survives just like it has the right to, as we do. So if there's a message I'd like to get out through the website, through the Facebook pages, there's lots of other people like me who are trying to get accurate information out there about bears and their behavior, is that these animals will coexist with us if we let them. We just need to give them an opportunity to do that.